Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of the Transformed Life podcast. I'm your host, Pastor Christian, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today. If you're new here, this podcast is all about inspiring, encouraging, and equipping Christian believers to live out a transformed life in Christ. Today, we are diving into a topic that is essential for every believer: with building strong Christian relationships. We were created for connections, and as Christians, our relationships should reflect the love, grace, and truth of Jesus Christ. Whether it's with family, friends, or our church community, build strong relationship that is faith-based is vital to our spiritual growth and well-being. In this episode, we are going to explore why these relationships matter so much. We will share some tips on how to build and maintain them, and look at some real-life stories in the Bible that illustrate the power of strong Christian bond. So let's get started. First, let's talk about why Christian relationships are so important. From the very beginning, God designed us for community. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 18, God said, "It is not good that a man should be alone. I will make him a helper comparable to him." This statement highlights that we were never meant to live in isolation. We thrive when we are in relationships with others, especially when we share those faith values. Christian relationships are different from other relationships because they are rooted in our shared faith in Jesus Christ. These relationships are not just about companionship or social interaction. They are about spiritual growth, accountability, and mutual support. Proverbs chapter 27:17 says, "As iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend." This verse beautifully illustrates the purpose of Christian relationships: to sharpen one another, to encourage and challenge each other, to grow in our faith and live out the gospel in our daily lives. Moreover, Christian relationships are a powerful witness to the world. In John chapter 13, verse 35, Jesus said it, "By this all will know that you are my disciple, if you have love for one another." When we love each other well, we reflect Christ's love to those around us. Our relationships become a living testimony of God's grace and goodness, drawing others to Him. That's why it's so important to invest and build and maintain strong Christian relationships. So, how do we go about building those strong faith-based relationships? Here are some practical tips to help you foster deep and more meaningful connections with fellow believers. Number one, prioritize love and grace. The foundation of every strong Christian relationship is love, but not just any love, Christ-like love. 1 Corinthians 13 describes the kind of love that we should have. It says, "Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself. It's not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own. It's not provoked. Love doesn't think no evil. It doesn't rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hope all things, and endure all things." This is the love we are called to show to one another. It's patient, kind, and selfless. It covers a multitude of sins and offers grace even when it's hard. Prioritizing love and grace in our relationship means choosing to see the best in others, being quick to forgive, and always striving to reflect Christ's love in our interactions. Number two, we should practice open and honest communication. Effective communication is key in any relationship. And this is especially true in Christian relationships. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 15 encourages us to speak the truth in love. This means being honest with each other, but doing so in a way that is kind and constructive. Open communication involves not just speaking, but also listening, truly hearing and understanding the other person's heart. When we communicate openly and honestly, we build trust and create an environment where both parties feel safe to share their thoughts, struggles, and even dreams. Number 3, commit to mutual support and accountability. Strong Christian relationships thrives on mutual support and accountability. Galatians 6:2 says, "Bear one another burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ." This means being there for each other in times of need, offering a listening ear, a helping hand, or a word of encouragement. But it also means holding each other accountable. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 6 reminds us, "Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful." True friends will speak the truth in love, even when it's hard, because they care about our spiritual growth. When we commit to supporting and holding each other accountable, we help each other to stay on track and grow stronger in faith. Number 4, invest time and effort. Finally, strong relationships don't happen by accident. They require time and effort. Just like any other important aspect of life, building strong Christian relationships takes intentionality. This means making time to connect with others. Whether it's through regular church attendance, small group, or simply spending time together outside of formal settings, it means being there in highs and lows, celebrating successes, and walk through challenges together. The more you invest in your relationships, the stronger they will become. To illustrate the power of strong Christian relationships, let me share a couple of real-life stories that highlights how these bonds can transform lives. One powerful example comes from the life of Apostle Paul. Paul had many strong relationships with fellow believers who supported him in his ministry. One such relationship was with Barnabas. In Acts chapter 9, after Paul's conversion, many Christians were afraid of him because of his past as a persecutor of the church. But Barnabas stood by him, vouching for him to the apostles and to the people, helping him integrate into Christian community. This support was crucial for Paul's ministry, and their relationship became a model of encouragement and partnership in the faith. Another story is more personal, involving a couple who faced serious crisis in their marriage. They were on the brink of divorce, but through the support and accountability of their small group, they were able to work together and work through their issues. The group members there prayed with them. They offered them counsel and held them accountable to the commitments they made to each other. Over time, their marriage was restored, and today they are stronger than ever. The story is a testament to the power of community and importance of surrounding yourself with strong Christian relationships. You know, the church also plays a vital role in helping us build and maintain strong Christian relationships. The church is not just a place we go on Sundays. It's a community of believers who is called to support and encourage one another in our faith. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24 to 25 says, "And let us consider one another in order to stir up love and good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together, as it is the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as you see the day approaching. In the church, we find opportunities to connect with one another through various ministries, small groups, and service opportunities. These connections help us build a relationship that goes beyond the surface level. In small groups, we can share our lives more intimately. We can pray for one another, for each other's needs, and we can study God's work together. Serving alongside one another also fosters a sense of togetherness and purpose for God, for the advancing of God's kingdom. The church also provides a space for mentoring and discipleship. Older, more mature believers can come along younger Christians to offer them wisdom, guidance, and support. These mentoring relationships are inevitable. They are inevitable and invaluable in helping us grow in our faith and navigate the challenges of life. Ultimately, the church is a family, a place where we belong, where we are known and loved, and where we can build the kind of strong Christ-centered relationships that will sustain us throughout our lives. As we close today's episode, I want to encourage you to take intentional steps towards building stronger Christian relationships in your life. Whether it's by reaching out to someone new in church or by deepening existing relationships. Or maybe it's by getting involved in a small group. Remember that these relationships are not just nice to have, they are essential for your spiritual growth and well-being. If this episode has blessed you, please share it with someone who maybe might benefit from it. Don't forget to like, to comment, and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss any future episode. Your engagement helps us reach more people with the message of hope and transformation in Christ. Before I wrap up, I also want to invite you to invest in your spiritual journey by checking out my book, Unleashing the Power of a Redeemed Heart. It's available on paperback and ebook on Amazon. This book dives deep into how you can live a transformed life through the power of Christ. And it also touches the importance of relationships in that journey. Now scroll down to the comments and click on the link to purchase. I believe that it will be a great blessing to you as you continue your walk of faith. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you in our next episode of the Transformed Life podcast. Stay blessed and keep up building those strong faith-based relationships.